Hey everyone, I am Stephanie. I'm with the Cole team, and today I have the pleasure of talking to Leigh Ann. She is the owner of Forsyth Academy of Performing Arts here in Forsyth County, and you guys have been here since 2013, so 5 years now, and it has grown tremendously. If you can tell us about that, it's crazy. I'm so excited for you guys.
So when we first opened in 2015, we had 35 students in about 3,000 square feet of room was what we initially took on. And those 35 kids, the next semester turned into 70 kids. Wow. And then we knew that we needed to figure out another option. So we were able to take over some more space. So now we have 6,000 square feet and somewhere in the neighborhood of about 450 kids that come through our doors every single week.
That is insane.
It's crazy. It's really fun, but it's crazy.
Wow. So how many different classes do you offer right now for kids?
I think right now we have somewhere around 25 to 30 different classes on the rolls. Some of those have multiple casts, like a show might have 2 separate casts within one class. Gotcha. But we're here 6 days a week.
Wow, yeah. that is so fantastic.
It's fun.
So out of that many kids, tell me how, like, as far as your staff goes, how are you staffed up to handle that?
Yeah, so we
or
have,
is it just you?
No,
just,
gosh,
yeah,
no.
I'm just
we
kidding.
have an amazing team. So I don't teach as much anymore because it's sort of my job to make sure that we all are swimming in the same direction. But
sure,
we have a great team of there's give or take about 8 to 10 of us at any given time, depending on the needs for contractors, because some people will come in and just choreograph a show. Some people are with us. We have a couple of administrative, so we've got kind of a big wash of people, but it's a really, really amazing team of people. It's important to me that all of our staff see kids the way I see kids, which is that we're always looking for what's in their best interest, and we never turn kids away because they might have different learning abilities or special needs, and so we have this really fun mix of kids here that come from all walks of their schools. And sometimes theater kids aren't the coolest kids at their school, but like there are people.
That's not true.
It depends.
We were both probably theater kids, right?
Right, and I
was a
super
wannabe
cool.
theater kid, probably more than actually a theater kid.
Right, I wasn't super cool, so.
Well, you're cool now.
Well, thanks.
So. Well, and you're native to Atlanta, which I think is hard to find.
Yeah, for sure it is. I grew up in Conyers, so just sort of southeast of Atlanta. I grew up there. I went to school in Georgia, and I'm proud to be a business owner in the state of Georgia. I love Forsyth County. I moved here about 15 years ago, and I'm really thankful that I had this amazing town to raise my kids in, and it's been a really fantastic place to build a business, especially one that's full of creative kids, which is really neat. It's a different, what we do is different than you find a lot of other places. It's a completely different style activity for your kids to do. It's not traditional sports, it's not traditional dance. So we find this niche of kids who may not have loved those things, or maybe they just want to try something really different, and the community has just really embraced that for us, which has been really fun.
And what brought you to Forsyth, or what brought this idea to Forsyth for you?
So, like I said, I had been living here. I moved here right before my first son was born, and so when it came time, I was teaching a lot of private lessons out of my house. And then I was freelancing.
And what were you teaching? Were you singing?
Piano and voice.
Piano and voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was working a lot with a lot of local theaters and freelancing and doing that kind of work all through the Southeast. And my husband and I had this conversation, and I said, I keep getting asked, where can my child go to do a show or take a class or do an acting class? And I told him, I had drawn up a business plan years before really sort of our 2008 recession and all that. I had drawn this business plan, and I had this idea, and I tabled it, and we just kept rolling it around and talking about it. And eventually we were on vacation, and I had interviewed for a teaching job because I was ready to get a full-time sort of gig. So I had this offer for a teaching job, and then I had this idea. So we were on vacation, and we just kept tossing it around, and what do we do? it's a bird in the hand and it's two in the bush, and
Yeah.
you know, do we take the steady paycheck or do we do this sort of start our my own business? And he finally said, I think we should just do it. I think we should just give it a try. So with that little bit of encouragement, that's kind of where we started.
And that was your 30 kids the first
That
year.
was my
and then
30
the second
kids.
year you
Yes.
doubled it, and here you are. I mean, it's not even doubling at that point.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
it's
I
kind
don't
of
know
been
what it is, but
exponential at a point.
It's exponential, absolutely.
But it's great.
Well, what was the moment, I think, in your life where you're like, the stage is where you want to be? I love your story on this.
So when I was in high school, when I first started high school, the very first thing I did was try out for a play. And our school did A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is a Shakespeare play, and I was cast in the ensemble of that. And no kidding, from I don't think until the very end of the show, I still really had very little idea of what was even happening. But I loved it. It was so fun. I was like, what? Who's what? I'm so confused.
I'm here for the energy.
So, right, I'm
energy on the
here
stage.
for, yes, I'm just loving it. But my second semester for our spring musical that year, we did Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so I was cast in the ensemble of that, and I had one little 2-line solo, and that was my big moment. But from that moment, as soon as I put that little cute peasant blouse and pretty, you know, like calico skirt on, I was in. I was totally in. So from there, I just did show after show, as many as I could do in school. And then I went to college intending to major in musical theater and also in music education.
Okay.
Because I was also a huge band nerd, and I wanted to teach band and also do you know, musical theater stuff. But I found out fairly early on that the music department and the theater department at the school where I went didn't really get along. So I went with the music ed route, and but I was still super involved with all the shows, and I would accompany for the musicals at our school when they would let me come in from time to time. And I'm a terrible classical pianist, but I'm a pretty decent musical theater accompanist. It's kind of like being a ballet dancer and being like perfect with your technique, and being like a modern dancer, you know, like you just kind of feel it, and the notes that are on the page are not, you don't have to be married to that. So from there, it was just, you know, I was all in from that first moment in ninth grade.
Where did all your musical talent come from?
Well, it's funny, I'm adopted, and so I grew up in this amazing family with my mom and dad, who are totally not creative people at all. That's just not how they're wired. But they were so amazing to, like, as soon as I started expressing an interest in that stuff, I was in dance class at the age of 4. I was in taking piano lessons at 5. And so anything that, you know, I showed an interest in, they fostered, which was amazing because it was outside of their wheelhouse. And they have this kid, and they're like, what do we do with that?
And there wasn't the internet then, so they could just be like, what do I do with her?
Right, exactly. So they were really awesome to foster that and to support me. You know, I kind of joke with my dad because he came to everything I ever did. And I mean, that involves some really long, boring concerts in college, especially, like long choral works. And he would sit with his eyes closed and his head resting. And I would say, how was your nap, Dad? And he'd go, I can hear just as good with my eyes closed as I can with them open. I'm like, okay.
That's really
but they never missed anything that I ever did. But like I said, I'm adopted. And so about a year ago, maybe it's been a little longer than that, through a DNA match, I found both my birth mother and my birth father. Yeah. And so my big question that I wanted answered was, well, where did the music come from? Because every time I have a student who is super musically inclined, I can always track it back. I can say, well, who's musical in your family? And they go, well, my mom was this, or my dad plays piano, or my granddad was in a band, or whatever. And so I knew it came from somewhere because it was just too much a part of me. It wasn't something, it was just too much a part of me. So anyway, come to find out, my birth mother, actually, she sings in her church choir. She was in choir and piano all through growing up. She takes voice lessons every week still. And then her sister, who is the family sort of genealogical expert of the family.
There's always one.
There's always one. And she has been able to sort of show me through the years all kinds of connections to music genetically in that family. So it's very, very cool, and it's a neat sort of way to kind of tie those two worlds back together.
Okay. Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, tell me about how we're set up here right now. So we're in, I mean, obviously this is one of the stages of 3 different major rooms that you've got in the complex.
Yes, so we have, this is our smaller theater space. It's about 1,500 square feet.
Okay.
We call it the black box because this is called a box set, meaning it never moves. We can tear parts of it down and renovate it, but it's a central sort of stage. There's not going to be things that move off and on.
Okay.
So this is our black box theater. We have another larger space that's about 3,000 square feet where we hold our larger productions, and that's where most of the kids perform. We use this for a lot of our adult theater that we're kicking off.
Okay.
So that's our two main spaces, and then we also have a classroom space, and then we have some backstage space that we use for storage, costumes. We've got mountains of costumes and all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, and obviously I've seen you several times. We come in here weekly with my kids, and it's busy. I mean, like you said, there's so many students going in and out. Do you think there's going to come a time where this isn't even big enough?
Oh my gosh, the time came probably about a year ago.
It did already, so it's already here. I just wonder. I mean, it is a big space.
Yeah, it's a lot of square footage.
A lot, but
one of the things that's unique about our business here is that we need a lot of square footage in order to do what we do, because when you spread 30 kids out and they're all learning a dance number, you can't do that in a small room. So. And then when, in Forsyth County, there's not really a place where, the schools have theaters, which is great for them, but they keep them busy all the time because we have a huge arts community in our schools in Forsyth County. So those are not available for us to come in and rent for 6-8 shows a semester, because we're running things constantly in this building. This semester alone, we'll do 8 shows. Over the course of this next year, we'll sell 5,000 tickets to the events that we have coming up between now and May. Wow. So that's a lot of bodies to move in and out. Absolutely. So what we're working on is trying to find the next home for FAPA. So I don't know exactly where that's going to land yet. I have a team of people who are far smarter than I working on that and trying to identify where we're going to go. We'll still be in Forsyth County. No, we're not leaving. No, we have to change our name.
You have to change your name, so you cannot
FAPA
leave.
has too much of a ring to it, so we're not going anywhere.
Okay, good.
But we're trying to figure out what those next steps are. Again, it's tricky because we need a lot of room. So it's not a small, inconsequential investment to make to try and build something or find something that has the ability to offer what we need. Sure. So we're working on that. It's really important to me right now that we're building an audience here, which is part of our sort of the second part of our mission. So we offer all these educational opportunities for kids. They can come take musical theater, acting, improv, sketch writing, dance classes that are geared towards musical theater. Okay. But then we're also offering a night out for your family. So we just closed a production of the musical Nonsense. In December, we have a production of a hilarious play called Every Christmas Story Ever Told, and then some. Okay. Which is 3 guys, and they literally tell every Christmas story you can imagine. It's really fast-paced. It's hilarious.
When you say that, is that adults?
They're adults, yeah. Okay. So one is a teacher at South. I mean, they're local guys, and they're hilarious. So that comes up in December. Next February, we're doing a production of Steel Magnolias, the play, which everybody knows.
Who might be in that?
We're doing it as a staff production, so it's going to be so fun. So our whole team is involved in one way or another. So I don't know how I'm going to memorize the lines,
I already
but
know,
it'll be fun.
You have to tell everyone who you're going to be.
So I'm
the best character ever.
I'm playing Truvy, which is Dolly Parton in the movie. So at least I'll have big hair.
I would have big hair.
I will have big hair. Yes. I don't know exactly how I'm going to learn the lines, but we'll sort that out. Yeah. So those things are happening. We're looking at summer and building out a summer theater series where families can come and enjoy some theater together. So that's sort of the second fold part of what we're doing. I love seeing families on stage together. I love community theater for that reason, when parents and kids can do shows together. So that's what we're building towards, that will eventually also be housed in hopefully what becomes our new home.
Wow. Fantastic. So if somebody wants to get involved, when's the best time?
Yeah. Well, we start things typically with semesters. Okay. So we have shows that will start in August, and we have shows that will start in January. However, our classes, you can jump in anytime. Okay. And we also have, with January coming up, we've got shows that will be casting. We're doing Guys and Dolls with our middle and high schoolers. Yes. We're doing The Adventures of Robin Hood with our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. We're doing, speaking of full circle, we're doing a play with our middle and high schoolers called The Seussification of a Midsummer Night's Dream. So it's basically the Shakespeare, but it's told a la Dr. Seuss. So it's in these rhyming, crazy. It's hysterical. So that's really fun. So
do you know what's going on in it?
Maybe that might be. Yeah, exactly. That might be right at my level. I think. Exactly. We can hope. Yeah. So anyway, those things are happening, but we have acting classes that run all the time, and those kids, they may not be working towards one big show, but they're performing all throughout the year. So they might be writing their own scenes or working on monologues, and then we do demonstration performances where families can come in and see them do that stuff all year long. So there's always something to jump in with.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and then summer camps will come up before we know it. So we run crazy summer camps all year long.
They are so fun. My kids have done them, and they've already like, when do we get to do them again? I'm like, well, it's not summer.
It's a blast. It's a blast. We'll take a week for our elementary school kids, and in 1 week we put up an entire show, and then families come that weekend. It's a blast. We have a great time. So
what those kids learn,
it's amazing.
It is. It really is amazing. It's incredible. Yeah. I don't know if you could take. Well, you do have adults that are very talented. I don't know if you could take me and. Well, I won't say my friends because that's hard too. You couldn't take me and learn all that in a week.
Right. Well, really me neither. My brain would explode. But they are so amazing. They're like little sponges, and they just soak it up.
They love it. They live and breathe it.
Sometimes I think for those condensed, we call them condensed shows, when we do them really fast like that, sometimes I think it's actually easier because they don't ever have time to forget it because they're here with us all day, and they go home and crash because they're exhausted, and they come back the next day and add some more.
And so they're dreaming about it because there's just no like that.
Right, and the songs are going through their heads because you can't get that out, those earworms.
Yeah,
so anyway, it's really fun.
Well, we've covered so many good things. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you're like, I want to make sure people know this?
I don't think so. I'm just so excited to talk about it. Thanks
I know,
for coming.
Me too. Thank you for letting me come.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love FAPA, and I'm just so excited that you're here in the community, and I can't believe it's only been 5 years and you've grown like this. And y'all, if you have somebody that is interested in theater, or honestly, it doesn't even have to be someone in theater nowadays. Really, it helps you in any aspect of business.
That's one of the things I love the most is that we have kids who would really love to never be actually on stage.
Sure.
And that's okay too, because kids that are shy, or it's really a struggle to present in their classes when they have to do a PowerPoint or something like that.
Absolutely.
This is great for them because it's a safe place. It's very important to me. One of our core values is creating a safe environment where the kids can feel free to try new things and even fail a little. That's okay. We do that here, and that's okay. We do that. The grown-ups do that here too. We aren't always perfect, and we try to. That's part of the philosophy of us putting in these adult shows is we want the kids to see that we're getting out of our comfort zones too, and that it's a safe place for them to give those things a try. So
definitely. And not to go off on a tangent, but my youngest, who's now 10, when she was, I think it was 6 or 7, I mean, she was severely shy, very shy. And she wanted to do what her big sister did. So she did come. The first time she cried the entire time she was on the stage. And the director was like, I think just bring her back in a year.
Right.
And she just cried, let me come back, let me come. And I tell you what, there's something about theater that has helped her. And now she's come out of her shell because of it. So it's huge. It might not be her main thing in her little life, but
it has been. It's amazing to see them. And they build
her.
Such great relationships and great friendships.
Yep.
And that's really special too, because that creates that environment where they feel safe to try things because they trust the people that they're in a class with. So we work really hard to foster that sort of safe, creative environment where the kids can feel brave enough to try things because they feel supported by the people that are in their class.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks
for having me.
Take care. We'll talk to you all soon.